Routine meeting of the Public Safety Committee will now come to order. The clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Alcoffer. Here. Ms. Boyce. Here. Mr. Delahanty. Here. Ms. Lamar. Here. Mr. Mafucci. Here. Mr. Michike is excused. Mr. Shepard is excused. Mr. Terp. Here. Mr. Zale.
I am here. Before we get started, I just wanted to point out that I am the vice chair of this committee, but our chair is going to have to leave in the middle, and we didn't want to have disruption, so appreciate that. Is there anyone signed up for the public forum today?
There is not.
Is there anyone present who is not signed up to speak who would like to address the committee at this time? Seeing none, I'd like to introduce Robert Franklin, the Chief Financial Officer from Monroe County, who is here to present the 2020 budget as it pertains to the Public Safety Committee. We'll have question and answer session after the presentation has concluded.
A little longer than planning, so just bear with me. 6 minutes. 6 minutes, 20 seconds. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. The 2020 budget presentation as it pertains to the Public Safety Committee. In a similar fashion to prior years, just a quick slide to illustrate that our public safety sector represents about 21% of Monroe County's overall spending. Next. Within the public safety sector, you'll see 4 distinct areas: our Office of the Sheriff, our Office of Public Safety, Department of Public Safety, Office of the District Attorney, and the Office of the Public Defender. Throughout the coming year, the legislature will be accepting additional grants pretty much in each of these areas, and you'll see that illustrated on this particular slide, the changes between the 2019 adopted column and the 2019 amended budget column. Within our Office of the Sheriff, overall appropriations have increased roughly 2.5% from the adopted 2019 budget, but the revenue growth is actually much less, so the impact on the net county share is more like a 2.7% increase. I will note one area of somewhat minor risk worth noting is revenue from our intermunicipal agreement with the City of Rochester for their unarraigned prisoners. The Sheriff Office has about $1 million in revenue budgeted related to that IMA. That IMA would be backdated to July 1st of 2019. It just has not yet been executed. Interesting in that IMA is we've negotiated away from the $1 million minimum payment guarantee from the city in favor of having the city pay us the full federal rate rather than the prior agreement, which was set at 90% of the federal rate. Assuming we go through with an introduction and vote on the city's IMA, it is possible revenue may fall short of the $1 million budget, perhaps in the $600,000 to $800,000 range. I'm sure that is something the Sheriff's Office staff will keep their eye on as the year progresses. Also within the Sheriff's Office, cash capital funding for their projects include almost $1.5 million for replacement patrol vehicles, roughly $1 million for the future jail reconstruction project. This is just like the reserve for capital that has been discussed in prior meetings. We just don't necessarily call it a reserve, but it essentially behaves the same way for that expansion project. Looking at revenues within the Office of the Sheriff, state reimbursement for our court security costs, it's about $12 million, represents more than 2/3 of the total revenues for the Sheriff. And then at $4.2 million, the Jail Bureau's revenue accounts for another 23% of their revenues. Within our Department of Public Safety, appropriations have increased from 2019 adopted budget by about 1.9%. And that's primarily in the 4 largest divisions you see on the screen. Net county support, however, has barely increased 1%. And that primarily is because $1.4 million in fund balance appropriations is offsetting a good portion of their debt service. I do want to highlight that every time someone suggests we appropriate fund balance, you should be asking a question. This particular fund balance appropriation is specifically from the county's reserve for bonded debt. That would be the restricted portion of our debt service fund. Within the office of the district attorney, grant referrals already coming through this legislature in 2019 highlight the changes between what you normally adopt in a budget versus what gets amended throughout the year. For 2020, proposed appropriations are a good 7.2% higher than what was adopted for 2019. But I think you all are well aware that the state's new discovery law is putting additional strains on that office, so they have additional appropriations to accommodate. No major other changes are anticipated in the office, other than keeping our eye on their state aid. State aid is always at risk. Within the Office of the Public Defender, we show you 2019 amended budget, but you may already be aware the 2019 budget will be amended again in December by about $400,000 when the legislative body votes on the latest round of New York's OILS funding, the Office of Indigent Legal Services. Going forward, it's likely the annual amendment will run a little higher, but New York State hasn't yet committed to what those funding amounts exactly will be. And those relate to the state's settlement of the public defender. Tim Donaher can correct me if I mispronounce. It's related to that settlement of the lawsuit Hurl Herring. The reductions in the office's revenues really is related to lower state aid and the virtual elimination of 772-D fees. Those are fees that we could charge, but it's all likely that everyone would qualify for indigent defense without a fee. So, Mr. Vice Chair, that really concludes the presentation. Happy to field questions back at the admin table.
Thank you, Mr. Franklin. I will now open the floor for any committee member who has a question regarding public safety portion of the budget. Legislator Tur.
Through the chair, my question is about the 2019 major objectives compared to accomplishments and what we actually got taken care of. I don't know if you're on that or not. It's talking about the attempt to augment law enforcement's ability to deter and detect the expected increase in impaired drivers on our roads if marijuana gets legalized in the state. I didn't see any accomplishments on that, and I was wondering what progress has been made as far as DWI enforcement.
Mr. Chair, just to clarify, we're discussing goals and objectives and accomplishments within the Office of the Sheriff or Department of Public Safety?
Department of Public Safety, I think. Page. Public safety.
Please.
Let's see here. 2019 objectives is page 312. I can repeat my question once we're ready. Through the chair.
Hey, Hunter, how are you? Department of Public Safety. None of you guys. Super. How are you? You had a 2019 objective that is not a 19. Can you remember generally what it said? He can repeat it. He brought it with him.
Through the chair, Bob Burns from the Department of Public Safety. Could the legislator read the exact objective that you're referring to, just to make sure we answer the correct one? We've got a few in there about DWI enforcement. I want to make sure we're talking about the right one.
Sure, it's a 2019 major objective. It says the department, through its Stop DWI Technical Advisory Panel, Criminal Justice Council, and other groups will monitor potential marijuana legalization efforts by New York State in an attempt to augment law enforcement's ability to deter and detect the expected increase in impaired drivers on our roads. I didn't see anything in 2019 major accomplishments or in 2020 objectives, so I was just wondering what progress we have in that.
Through the chair, thank you. The effort to identify a limited number of objectives and achievements for our budget book, we go through our 11 divisions and try to make our best decisions on which ones are the top ones. The fact that the marijuana laws did not change in 2019 was the major reason why we didn't address this in this upcoming budget book. The fact is, we did, though, through that same DWI Technical Advisory Board, meet regularly, review Colorado data, review data from the other states that have legalized marijuana. We remain concerned about the impact on increased driving while under the influence of marijuana. We're working with our police partners. We're prepared for an eventual change in law, but the fact that it did not make the state's 2019-20 budget bill is the reason we didn't address it here.
Thank you. Through the chair, so do you still see it as a major concern as far as if it does get implemented?
Sorry.
From a DWI standpoint?
Yeah, through the chair, absolutely. It remains as an agenda item on our technical advisory board every month or every 2 months when we get together. We're reviewing data and we're talking about the potential of a law change going into 2020. We just don't know what's going to happen with that bill or an altered bill going into next year. We're concerned about not having enough police officers who are trained, who are DREs or trained to detect non-alcohol beverage use while driving. So we continue to work on it. It just happens not to be in the objectives or the accomplishments.
Thank you. Through the chair, do you know of any technological advances that have been able to come out to detect how under the influence a person might be?
Through the chair, I don't. I know that there's discussion about taking samples of hair and taking samples from saliva, but we're not aware of anything that is absolutely something that our police officers are prepared to do.
Okay.
And if
So they're currently trying to work on technology like a breathalyzer for marijuana, but I don't think it's perfected yet. But they're working strongly on it due to all the laws throughout the states that are going over to marijuana is legal and the problems it's causing.
Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that our law enforcement is ready, or at least as ready as possible if it does get passed at any given point. So, thank you.
Any other questions about the budget? Legislator Boyce.
Yes, through the chair, vice chair, I guess. So with regards to the MDTs that are being installed into our sheriff's cars as well as other EMS service vehicles, can you just give us a brief, do we have a schedule as to when that would be? How is that coming? Thank you.
Thanks for stopping.
Good evening. Tim Kohlmeyer, Deputy Public Safety Director, Public Safety. Schedule for MDTs through the chair. Will be finalized testing is occurring currently, and the RFP is being finished for first quarter release next year.
Any other questions from our committee members about public safety? Legislator Alcoffer.
Through the chair, on page 306.
Here, you want to speak?
Excuse me. Through the chair, on page 306 of the budget, charges to other governments, is that for the road patrol?
Mr. Vice Chair, actually, the charge other governments is primarily the Fire Bureau and charges to other counties for contracts through the crime lab.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Legislator Mafucci.
On page 270. Right at the top, there's a drop in personnel services, contractual services, and supplies and materials. Any specific reason for those decreases?
Mr. Vice Chair, there is included in the 2019 amended budget just over $172,000 related to grants. I think as consistent with prior years, as you go through this budget, the answer to a lot of questions will be grants. There are the normal run-of-the-mill pay and step increases are going on in this department. There really is not positions that overwhelmingly defunded or vacant.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Legislator Mafucci.
On page 464. $504,320. There's a significant drop in professional services. Reason for that?
Mr. Vice Chair, this is really within the Conflict Defender's Office, the budget for assigned counsel. The 2019 amended budget did include roughly $1.9 million that was grant-related. That additional funding will be coming through this body at a later time.
Thank you. Through the chair to the administration, next page, 465. 504,340. Rental of space. Where are we renting that space?
Mr. Vice Chair, that's our space over at 80 West Main.
How many people work there through the chair?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vice Chair, I believe it's a combination of county employees and contracted staff. I know this question has come up in the past. We can get you an answer to that.
Thank you.
Anything further, Mr. Mafucci? Yeah.
Through the chair to the administration, on page 323, sorry, we're going backwards a bit.
Yes, sir.
Emergency management, federal aid's dropping $750,000. Is there a reason for that?
Which Mr. Vice Chair, that is entirely related to grants that will be coming through the body later on in the year.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Any other questions before we proceed? Okay, seeing none. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes. You have the October 22nd, 2019 minutes before you. They will stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. Next item on the agenda is new business. Mr. Clerk.
Referral 19-0265.
Moved by Legislator Boyce, seconded by Legislator Alcoffer. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 19-0266.
Moved by legislator Alcoffer, seconded by legislator Turp. Is there any discussion on this item? Legislator Lamar.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Through the chair to the administration, what data do we have on the success of this program?
Through the chair, the best data that I could give you is revenue that's been recovered as a result of some of these crimes.
Through the chair, in relation to how much was owed or due?
Through the chair, since 2005, the district attorney's office has helped to recover over $6 million.
Thank you.
Is there any other discussion on this matter? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 19-0267.
Moved by legislator Turp, seconded by legislator Delahanty. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing, legislator Lamar.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through the chair to the administration, why the decrease in funding for the Public Defender's Office?
Tim Donaher from the Public Defender's Office, through the chair. The Division of Criminal Justice Services did not explain why they reduced this grant amount, $21,000 over previous years. If I could speculate, I would imagine it has something to do with the fact that indigent defense, including the Public Defender's Office, has received a significant increase in state resources through the Office of Indigent Legal Services.
Thank you, and through the chair, how many positions are funded to the, by this grant to the DA's office versus the Public Defender's Office?
Through the chair, for the district attorney's office, 5 full-time positions are funded, 4 of them at 100% and 1 of them at 50%.
Through the chair, for the Public Defender's Office, the total of 6 positions are partially funded in various percentages.
Thank you.
Is there any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 19-0268.
Moved by legislator Delahanty, seconded by legislator Boyce. Any discussion on this item? Legislator Mafucci.
Thank you. Through the chair to the administration. So after amending the 2019 budgets for public safety and public defender to appropriate partial funding, will the balance of the award, which is a little over $1 million, be split between 2020 and 2021?
Through the chair, that is correct.
Thank you. I have one follow-up question through the chair to the administration. When will the annual report for the public defender become available?
Through the chair, I usually complete the annual report sometime in the first week of January. However, if this body is requesting that I complete it earlier, I will certainly do so.
Nope, thank you so much.
Any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 19-0269.
Moved by legislator Boyd, seconded by legislator Alcoffers. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 19-0270.
Moved by legislator Alcoffer, seconded by legislator Turp. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 19-0271.
Moved by legislator Turp, seconded by legislator Delahanty. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none. Oh, I'm sorry. Legislator Boyce.
Yes, through the chair, with regards to this, I know over the years, we've always talked about the most popular car that has been stolen, or the most, so I'm just wondering if that has changed, if you might be able to indulge me. If you can't, then you can get the information at a later date.
I'm interested.
Through the chair, no, we don't track that.
Okay, thank you.
Come on. Thought maybe it would be a Ferrari or something. It does. Okay, any other discussion on this item? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 19-0272.
Moved by legislator Delahanty, seconded by legislator Boyce. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 19-0273.
Moved by legislator Boyce, seconded by legislator Alcoffer. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 19-0274.
Moved by legislator Alcoffer, seconded by legislator Turp. Is there any discussion on this item? Legislator Mafucci.
Thank you. Through the chair to the administration. What happens to the remainder of the award after the two contracts are signed?
Through the chair, do you mean the contracts, Town of Greece and Town of Roundaquay?
Yeah, there's a total of about $54,000. What happens to that money?
They have 3 years to spend it, so they'll spend all of it.
Terrific, thank you.
Any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 19-0275.
Moved by legislator Turp, seconded by legislator Delahanty. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 19-0276.
Moved by legislator Delahanty, seconded by legislator Boyce. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 19-0277.
Moved by legislator Boyce, seconded by legislator Alcoffer. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 19-0278.
Moved by legislator Alcoffer, seconded by legislator Turp. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 19-0279.
Moved by legislator Turp, seconded by legislator Delahanty. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing, legislator Lamar.
Chair to the administration, what is the current backlog within the DNA section of the crime lab?
Good evening, John Clark from the Crime Laboratory. Through the chair, the current backlog in the DNA section is 800 cases.
Thank you. Through the chair, is there a reason for so many?
Through the chair, that has increased a little bit due to the submission of sexual assault kits and also some vacancies within the section that have recently been filled.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Legislator Boyce?
Through the chair, with regards to the backlog, you know, in the referral itself, it mentions that we're gonna do some regional work still. Is that true?
Through the chair, yes, that is true.
So with regards to, so the backlog, does that include the regional work as well, or just Monroe County's backlog?
That includes cases from the other counties as well, yes, through the chair.
So through the chair, do you have a breakdown of what or the other counties versus the Monroe County backlog? And if you don't have it tonight, if you could get that, that would be great.
Through the chair, yes, I do not have that tonight, but I can get that to you.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 19-0280.
Moved by legislator Delahanty, seconded by legislator Boyce. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 19-0281.
Moved by legislator Boyce, seconded by legislator Alcoffer. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 19-0282.
Moved by legislator Alcoffer, seconded by legislator Turp. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 19-0283.
Moved by legislator Turp, seconded by legislator Delahanty. Is there any discussion on this item? Legislator Lamar.
Through the chair to the administration, what are the total arrests per municipality?
Through the chair, it's, total is about 2,100 on my sheet here. Do you need a breakdown? I can get that to you.
Yes, please. Through the chair.
Anything else, legislator Lamar?
Thank you.
Oh.
No.
Any other discussion on this item? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 19-0309.
Moved by legislator Delahanty, seconded by legislator Boyce. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Are there any other matters to come before this committee? There being no other matters, the November 25th, 2019 meeting of the Public Safety Committee stands adjourned. The next meeting of Public Safety will be announced. Happy Thanksgiving.